what we've just found out about, in the Bible, it talks about child sacrifice. Well, what we are doing here in America is worse than child sacrifice. Why do I say worse? They take the child in ancient times and throw it in the fire to a false god. Well, we have that same false god in America. You know what his name is? The god of convenience, the god of self. We don't want to be inconvenienced with a child. We're taking these babies that we know feel pain late term and harvesting the body parts. That has to be such a stench in God's eyes.
And the family is the cornerstone, has been the cornerstone of this country. But right now, because of this disintegration of the American family, 70% of the children living in American homes right now are not living with their birth parents, with both birth parents. We have a situation in our country where the family has been replaced by governmental support, and the authority of the father in the home is a thing of mockery. And we are paying an awesome price where our young people are drifting into drugs, where anarchy is sweeping the nation, because a child that's left to its own way will bring to its father shame. A child that does not hear the principles of righteousness out of the mouth of his father or out of the mouth of its mother will always go into the streets and search for a leader. And those leaders are leaders of gangs, and they're leaders of a lifestyle that's detrimental to America.
And I think all this ultimately leads to the one thing that some of these shooters may have in common, still an open question, and that is isolation. If you add in the fact that there are busted up families, redefinition of what a family is, ongoing arguments over what's normal and what isn't normal, and then they feel like there's no place for them. Social, societal rejection. Used to be able to turn to religion to find meaning and purpose, but that's kind of been blown to smithereens now, as people have mocked and made fun of that. So the breakdown of the family and the redefinition of what is a family, and the idea that, well, you don't really need a mom and a dad. That's old-fashioned. That's quaint. We move on. I think there are certain things human beings need that thousands of years of societal evolution have accommodated. And in the last number of years, many of those foundational things have been blown up, distorted or destroyed, and I think it's led to a lot of people feeling unanchored.
Call your mom, call your dad. If you're lucky enough to have a parent or two alive on this planet, call them. Don't text, don't email. Call them on the phone. Tell them you love them and thank them and listen to them for as long as they want to talk to you.
I left Fox News in January of 17. And the reason I left is because I wanted to be with my family, right? I was missing my kids' childhood. They were little, like 7, 5, and 3. So I could still see it. I could still be a part of it. And now I'm doing it. You know, I have spent the past year in particular, but even before that, with them. And I'm mothering my own kids. And there's no substitute for that. You know, I lost my dad when I was 15 years old. And so I know on an inherent basis, you don't get a do-over.
I used to say that I have 3 pillars in my life, which is my mom, my dad, and my sister. And without them, there's no me.
I really respect young men who get married and have children. I think that is the toughest and most noble job that a man can have on planet Earth, especially in times that are so questionable, especially with the fears raging through America today about the socialism that is hanging in the air like a lead balloon, because we understand that the arc of civilization requires propagation.
Consider, for example, that the historians Will and Ariel Durant called the family the nucleus of civilization. They understood that all those aspects of civilized life that we most deeply cherish, freedom, the rule of law, economic prosperity, and opportunity, that all these depend upon the strength and integrity of the family. If you think about it, you will see that it's in the family that we must all learn the fundamental lesson of life: right and wrong, respect for others, self-discipline, the importance of knowledge, and, yes, a sense of our own self-worth. All of our lives, it's the love of our families that sustains us when times are hard. And it is, perhaps above all, to provide for our children that we work and save. Some have suggested that in today's world, the family has somehow become less important. Well, I can't help thinking just the opposite. That when so much around us is whispering the little lie that we should live only for the moment and ourselves, it's more important than ever for our families to affirm an older and more lasting set of values. Yet, for all that, in recent decades, the American family has come under virtual attack. It has lost authority to government rule writers. It has seen its central role in the education of young people narrowed and distorted, and it's been forced to turn over to big government far too many of its own resources in the form of taxation. Even so, the family today remains the fundamental unit of American life.
What would you imagine your family to look like in 5 to 10 years?
Hopefully Norwegian. They're a really good-looking bunch of people.
A couple of children and a cat, you know.
One of my biggest fears, I suppose, is to be able to construct a family or to build a family in the same way that my parents did.
Well, I would like to find the right person to get married to and to have kids with.
I would not like a big wedding, but yeah, I think I'd like, you know, if I find the right partner and someone I want to build a life with, I think it'd be quite great, you know, a quite great excuse as well for a mat party.
I never really pictured myself wearing white dress and all that.
A suit, definitely. Traditional.
So, yeah, something quite simple, but with lights everywhere and just a swing band and something quite, you know, simple.
I wanted to be informal, just like my sister's wedding, by the beach, wearing shorts and having friends do the ceremony.
I'm Ricardo and I'm gay.
Hey, I'm Jan and I'm gay.
My name is Connor and I'm gay.
Hi, my name is Sivan and I'm a lesbian.
My name is Danielle and I am a lesbian.
Like most advanced countries, Hungary struggles with a declining birth rate. In America, for perspective, the average woman has 1.7 children. That's the lowest figure we've ever had in our history. In Hungary, the number is even lower than that, fewer than 1.5 children per family. Hungary has lost more than 500,000 people in the past 30 years. At this rate, unless something changes dramatically, there will be no more Hungarians. The neoliberals who run the European Union and every think tank in Washington strongly agree on what Hungary should do to fix the problem: give up. Instead of helping the native population to have more children, the Hungarian government, they say, should import a replacement population from the third world. That's the George Soros solution. But Hungary's Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, has a different idea. Instead of abandoning Hungary's young people to the hard-edged libertarianism of Soros and the Clinton Foundation, Orban has decided to affirmatively help Hungarian families grow. Orban's government is giving young women $35,000 low-interest loans when they get married for the first time. If these women have 3 children with their husbands, the loans are forgiven completely. If they have a 4th child, they're exempt from income taxes for the rest of their lives. Hungary doesn't just have parental leave. Grandparents can take time off to help after the birth of a grandchild. Everything about these policies is a good idea. They don't just help people have the children they want to have, they encourage the creation of healthy families. The Hungarian government wants to help people get married, stay married to the same person, and remain close to their extended families. It gives the biggest rewards to middle-class families, the very group struggling most to balance career, finances, and children in the modern age. In other words, Hungary's leaders actually care about making sure their own people thrive. Instead of promising the nation's wealth to every illegal immigrant from the third world, they're using tax dollars to uplift their own people. Imagine that. Here's the least surprising part of it all. People absolutely love it. And why wouldn't they? Viktor Orban's government just won its third landslide election victory in a row. The lessons are so obvious that you have to wonder, why isn't anyone trying that here?
The Ossiaks are exceptional in a country where the population has been shrinking for the last 20 years. Their exemplary fertility has been recognised by the government with a special medal. To be eligible for the Order of Parental Glory, you must have 7 or more children and be morally upstanding. The Ossiaks tick all the boxes.
She just coming out with hers. Международный. Поздравляю. What did you feel when you met the president and he gave you the award?
Ну, это было очень так торжественно и трогательно. Конечно, приятно, то, что заметили нас, что столько деток.
Знаете почему? Потому что сама по себе женщина, это как Богом созданная, да? А когда она еще в положении, то это очень высокое предназначение человека. Она дает человека еще в мир.
There's another side to the resurgence of the Orthodox Church. A wave of intolerance, with homophobic views and graphic descriptions of abortion on TV.
Понимаете, эти люди, вот эти, так сказать, геи, голубые, как их там называют?
На Западе политическую власть в значительной мере захватило вот это вот извращенческое меньшинство.
Способов. Как у немцев было 1000 способов сгноить миллион людей, так сегодня у этих всех палачей в белых халатах есть 1000 способов как бы выскоблить человека из материнского организма.
This is brand new broadcaster Zargrad TV.
It's like this bizarre amalgam of Fox News and the Russian Orthodox Church. But they're deadly serious about this. Their message is that liberal values are over and this is the future.
I'm catching the metro to an increasingly rare thing in Russia, a protest outside the Russian parliament.
Behind this.
Well,
we are a lobbying group behind this, of course.
Which lobbying? You personally or the channel? Or Zargrad?
All of us. Never allow state to interfere in your family. We know exactly what would happen if state would start to interfere in the family. Family is sacral.
People like Konstantin Malafeyev want a Russian Empire 2.0. Great, like the USSR, but which doesn't meddle in its citizens' lives.
The only way we're going to stop this juggernaut, this one world, new world order juggernaut, is for parents to rise up, because you must understand that they will never be able to accomplish their goals without your children. You see? So you have the ultimate power. You have the ultimate power. And I always tell parents that if you want educational reform, you can have it tomorrow. You know how? By taking your kids out of the school and educating them at home.
I had 4 sons. I disciplined them. I taught them, I rebuked them, I corrected them, and I trained them. They now have children. They're all married to their original wives. They all have children. And now they thank me for instilling in them discipline, because now that they have children, they get it. Children have to be disciplined. Sons do. The buck stops with Dad. They can run and run and run, but they come down when you say, where's the buck stop? It stops with their father. You lose that, America, you will lose your nation. It will collapse and crumble right before you. on principles just like this when they're not adhered to. Be careful how you roll out there, Dad. Stand up and be a man. Irregardless of yeah coming out of anybody. Stand up and be a man. Put these principles into practice with your children. That's all I have to say. Take it or leave it. You leave it, you're doing so at your own peril, that's for sure.